you all for coming to the ABCs of experiencing life, love, and loss. We are here and we are live and in color, living color. Look at you. Living color. All right. When I was little, I used to watch Good Times, right? And I used to love the part that used to say, coming to you live from a live, no, coming to you from a live studio audience, right? So I'm coming over here. Experiencing life, love, and loss. Coming to you from a live studio audience. This thing is real. Listen, we are at the letter M, where we're talking about manifestation. I don't know about you, but I have been spoken into. I have many prophecies just hanging right over here, and I've been waiting. When is it coming to pass? And in the meantime, there is something called process, right? That we have to step into a waiting problem. Now, not having a waiting problem, but a waiting process to where we're going to receive something from God. But we cannot let our doubt, we cannot let our impatience turn us away from it. So we're going to talk about and get some help on what do we do while we wait on all of these things to manifest. All right. I don't know about you. I have some gold. I have some green. I know things to manifest. Somebody say manifest. And that's what we're going to talk about. But before we get into our guests and our talk today, we have a performance for you all that's going to blow your entire mind. Have your mind ever been blown before? If not, it's going to be blown today. We have C.C. Jones in the building. For those of you that don't know, that is my sister. Same mama, same daddy. That's what they told us. So that my sister is coming to the stage with her recently released EP, single, album, tape, CD, whatever they call it now, download. It's called Made Away. Give it up for CC. You don't have to do it. It's all in your hands. Promise always wait for me. Wait for me. Lord, keep on making a way. Keep on making a way for me. And you got to thank Him. Anybody have a thankful heart? All right, today, so we're talking about manifest. I have to give a shout out to all of you. I am so grateful. I am going to shower you with some love on today because I appreciate you for showing up for me every first Monday. Listen, if I didn't have anybody to talk to, I still talk to myself. But I'm thankful that I have other people to talk to. Look, I'm from Detroit. That happens all the time. Y'all see how they're friends? Don't let it bother you. We're in a safe place, okay? So they may pop because of all the heat that's coming from the lights, but isn't it beautiful? All right, I am thankful to God for everything that has manifested. This particular year is so special for me. It seems like a lot of things happened in the 03s. This year, I am going to be turning 50. say, if life lasts and death pass, I'm going to turn 50. Okay? It's also a great year because this year I celebrate 30 years into the greatest sorority there is, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority. And I have a couple of my line, everybody come. I have a couple of my line sisters here, and I want to honor them and say thank you, thank you, thank you. They went through the trenches with me. That only means you put it before God. That's the only way He'll require you to throw something away, because He has to be first. Delta is not first. God. This particular person is a mentor. Most of all, she is going to give us some tools on what we need to do while this thing manifests that we have waiting in our life. So I want you to stand up on your feet and welcome to our stage, Pastor, Prophetess, Woman of God, Entrepreneur. To coming out. I appreciate you. You are a woman who wears many hats, right? So people know you when you have that mic in your hand. But tell the people who Teresa Butcher really is. Who are you?
Well, I am going to tell you who I am, but let me do something. Today, I have to appreciate Lady Teshia Milton for what has manifested in her life. So y'all stand to your feet and let's bless God for Lady Teshia. It was just some flowers from all of us to say we love you and we're so proud of you. Yeah. You are a flower, child. You are a presence to God. I know that wasn't in the script, but yeah. I'm so proud of you and all of your accomplishments. And I'm going to talk about me, but I don't think enough has been said about her. However, we'll get there. Amen. So who am I? My name is Teshia Butcher, but today I am Mrs. Rodney Butcher. All right. I wear many hats, but this is my relaxed mode. This is who you see. And so I will honor my husband and I honor God. I am a child of God. Amen. And so I'm a wife. I'm a mother. I'm a pastor. I'm a mentor. I'm a coach. I'm a servant leader. I think more than anything. And with the permission of the Lord, I am a force. I am a force. When my back is up against the wall, we will come out.
Yes, fire. That's what I'm talking about. So we're talking about manifestation. You know, when I think of manifestation, I think of something that is being revealed. Something that we already know is going to happen, but it kind of, you unveil it, right? And it brings it to pass. So when you think of manifestation, what can you tell the people that it is and it means to you?
Manifestation to me has the ability to manifest. Okay, and wherever you put that heart, that's what's going to manifest, like I said, good or bad.
We don't understand and know that we play such an important part in what manifests in our lives. Even when it comes to like prayer and worship and things like that. You are definitely a woman of prayer when it comes to your particular life. But everybody see that part, the now. I understand and know what has happened in our past, brings us up to now. Tell us about like your childhood. What makes you you today?
Wow, that's a loaded question. What makes me who I am today is all of the life events that have gone on in my life. And that's what makes all of us who we are. From my mother and my father, really it starts before you get here. Because the makeup of who they are is a part of your DNA. So you're carrying all of that. You're carrying your ancestors. You're carrying them, okay?
Right.
My childhood, I am the oldest of three from my mother and my father.
Okay.
And then I'm the I'm the fifth of seven. And then you move that number down and then I become another number. And what does that mean? That means that at the age of 5, I lost my mother to a terrible car accident. And I say but it wasn't just me, my sister and my brother, both were with us as well. We were in the car. All three of us lost our biological mother. That day changed my entire life.
Yes.
That day set in motion the person that I am today. That day. Because behind that, I went through many things, good and bad. But I thank God that my mother, she was young, but she was a praying woman. And she had prayed and also made provision for her children, just in case something happened. Okay, and God, took care of us. I went through a lot of things. I was shifted. My grandmother raised us for 8 years, and then I was shifted to my aunt, who became my mother. She raised us, did a fabulous job. She was a single parent at the time of 7 children now. And she helped us to become, and let us become who we were, But I ran into a lot of things that I really needed my mother. But what helped me is that one day I found God. I didn't know him, but I found him. And I'm not going to say I found him and I got saved and everything was all right.
Right.
Because it wasn't like that.
Right.
We all tell the truth. But that horrific event is what caused, is the core of who I became, because I had to grow up quickly.
Wow. It kind of planned out, like going into what he wanted from you and not necessarily what you expected it to be.
Yes, I do. Not understanding why. Sometimes when you go through things, you're always feeling like, why me? Why did I get the short end of the stick? Why did we get the short end? Why did we come from this family? I ask that question. Why? But yes, as I move forward, I do understand God had to pull those crutches from under me so that I could be better for those that would have crutches pulled from under them.
That's right.
And by going through it, it helped me to know and be that example that you're going to come out all right. You may not come out with everything you need. You may not come out with, all of the glam, but you will come out if you just trust the process and trust God.
So, going through that particular process, because I have to look at my life and just growing up. Now I began to put pieces together like, oh man, that's why I went through that, because of this. And understanding that every time you go through something, you're supposed to get something out of it, but sometimes you're going through for other people, being that particular sacrifice. Do you see that, how does that affect you when you realize you got called to be a preacher as a woman? What did that do?
Well, I'm going to say it did affect me somewhat, but because of what you just said, because I had already gone through so many unfair situations, it just was one more thing to me. That's how I looked at it. Not that I wanted to preach, not that I wanted to be called, because I wanted to be just like everybody else. But God did something in my heart where, that when the words or the thought of preaching came up, it wasn't as bad, but it's just that I didn't see a lot of women like me, and that was different. And so I had to put it there is, now you have to sacrifice and be that person, learn to be just like you learn to not be. You have to learn not to have a mother. You have to learn not to have normal things like everybody else. Now you have to learn how to do this, right, and not have the people with you or someone really there to guide you.
Right. Me being called to be a preacher, I grew up in church, and I grew up Baptist. Baptists believe women had a place, and it wasn't in the pulpit. So I can remember when I was going through the process and, speaking and then being the superintendent of the Sunday school, that was all right. You could do all that. You could teach, you could all that. But when it was like, I have this call, it was a pull, I went to my uncle, right? Uncle was a deacon then. And I was like, yeah, I'm called to preach. And he told me, it's better to do that than anything else. I'm like, what? So you tripping because the things that you taught, I believed it. The things that you wanted me to stand on, I stood on them. And now that I want to speak about it, I can't do it because I'm a woman. Ain't I a woman? But I want to say, I want to thank you for going through, because in your era, you had to go through to make it easier for me, to make it easier for the upcoming. Yes. So from that particular standpoint, you decided to create this ministry called Sisters in Ministry. Yeah. What made you want to birth that? What made you see a need to even have something like that?
I think it started when I first got saved, really. I wanted to be saved, but I did not see other young women that were sold out in the area I was in, because I was a clubber. I loved the party, I loved the club. I had girlfriends for that, but I didn't have girlfriends that wanted to pray. And I didn't have girlfriends that wanted to hear about ministry. Now, we could do is we go to the club and come back. Right. We could do it then. But to be sold out. So I would pray ask God, would you please put me around people that are saved, other women that are saved, so that I can be saved. And when I went to college, he did. He gave me those, women. In doing so, as I continued to go forward, I still, I got all those things from her, so we go from level to level, right? So she took me where she could take me. And so now it was my time, but I still didn't have anybody to pour. Now I had a pastor, and my pastor was my mentor, but he was a man. Right. And I was still looking, and I couldn't find it. And when I would ask women in ministry, they didn't have time. Yeah. They didn't have time to talk to you. They didn't have time to pour into you. And if you wanted a seat with them, you had to go through something to get it. Yeah. And then I started praying about it. And God just birthed it. And one day I just saw it. One day I just saw it. That you don't wait. You be the one. Yeah. Right. You got what it takes. You be the one. And so I stepped out there and I went to my pastor with it. And
let me tell you all a little bit about it, Sisters in Ministry. So it was a platform for like-minded women to come together and feel comfortable in who they were. Didn't have to feel intimidated by their call. A place where they can relax and learn more of God and then operate in God. And it was, it still is, because Sisters of Ministry is still here. It is still here. Yes. It started in Dallas, Texas, but we have traveled with Sisters of Ministry. So it has been, and I remember the first part of it because I have started with you. It was prophesied to you that it would be international, and the first thing we had to do was move inside of our nation in the United States. So we started traveling abroad, and I believe it is going to completely manifest to that part where it's going to be international. Where y'all remember how Woman Thou Art Loose would be videoed in prison cells and things like that. That's how I see sisters in ministry. In those where women who are locked up can't wait to be free. No, need somebody to pour into them. Need somebody to know that even though you may be shackled right now, no one has forgotten about you. Right. So that particular ministry is really dear to me because it was like a lot of things I'm learning, you all. It's birthed out of pain and lack. It's like when you don't have, that's what you're supposed to do. If it's something that's hurting you, because you don't have it, that means you need to make a way for somebody else to give it. That's how I believe that ministry started. That's how I think it begins to manifest. So it's not only that, it's this thing called Prayer Warriors Boot Camp. That you also did. And actually, you all can see, y'all don't see it kind of how a life just manifested or, opening up. Not only did she do a platform for women.
No big eyes, no little U's, but coming to train, coming to get nurtured from others. And that's what Prayer Warriors Boot Camp was about, to come and, be empowered in prayer. Because we can preach and hold revivals, but we need to be strengthened in our prayer life. Mm-hmm.
Good. So let's go into a little bit more in regards to prayer. Just recently, you did a teaching during Bible study, right? And you were talking about worship and prayer. You start off, with the prayer and the worship. Do you feel like that is the connection that we have to manifestation when it comes to us expecting something to happen in our lives? Is there a connection between prayer and worship?
Yes, I believe that worship sets the stage for prayer.
Yes.
Because worship, when we come to worship, sometimes we get it wrong. Worship is just not about singing and feeling good. Worship is not for us, to us. Worship is for us to give to God. It's what He looks for. And when we realize that, that I am to go to Him in worship, it sets the stage for me to ask for whatever I want.
Right.
Because He knows your name now. He knows that you come to worship. Anything that we were made for worship. We were made to worship something. So if you don't worship God, you're going to worship something. You're going to worship idols. You're going to worship your marriage. You'll worship your children. You're going to worship something. Because we are meant to worship. But yes, they go hand in hand. And a lot of times we'll go to God even in prayer and we don't worship. We just go and ask God to give us things.
Yeah, I believe that. There's so many times that we come to service with our hands like this. Like I'm coming to receive something. I'm coming to get something. When all the while we're supposed to have our hands like this, saying I'm coming to give something. And then in your giving, if you're a giver, you already know this. In your giving, you will get something in return. If you just constantly give, you're going to automatically get something. But if we constantly have, y'all have family members that's always begging. You always asking for something. You're going to stay right there asking, because if you don't flip that thing around and start giving, you're going to always expect something. So when you say that if we're going to worship something, yes, you're going to give that attention, you're going to give that praise to something. So it might as well be to somebody that's going to give you something back. Because if you worship me, I ain't got nothing for you. But if you worship God, He has the power to do anything that you stand in need of. We've talked about some great things that happen in your life. But there is this one thing that just wasn't so great for you. I was there to see it. And it was a time when you were pastor, because you was already ordained as pastor. You was already consecrated. I was there too. I saw them lay the hands, boom, boom, boom. You pastor. But you were operating as associate pastor. And here it is, time for you to get out and go and start pastor. And I can remember y'all. So we had this conversation when it was time for her to go. She was like, "Where I'm going? Like, where am I going to go?" But it was her time. And the bishop, her father in the ministry, said it was her time to go. And she didn't want to go. What I seen that as, all of us may or may not have some experience in childbirth, right? Once a child comes to full term and it is time for the child to come out, it is still the mother's responsibility to push in order to make that child come to a place that they have never been before. And if that mother don't push that child out, then it's going to be stuck. So sometimes when, it's time for us to go, we got to get on out of there. You got to get out. So I see that in you, and I can look at the now. But I would like to know, and I'd like for you to tell the people, what is that like? Because there are some things that we know that we are promised to. We are purposed to. We don't want to do it. There's some people who know you have a call on your life, but I don't want to preach. I don't want to do that. You're here, you're supposed to have a ministry for children, but I don't want to be bothered with them kids. I don't have time for it. What is it that your experience taught you? Tell us about your experience and what that felt like when you got kicked out.
It really was another major thing that happened in my life. Do I really have to? You mean I really got to go do this? Type of moment in my life. And maybe to some, that's a glamorous thing, but I was very comfortable where I was. I was very comfortable. I love serving. I love serving my leaders. And I love serving God's people. So I was having a good time. But this process came about. It was very difficult. It was one that I did not see coming. Because it was something, I knew I was made for hard things. I didn't know it then. I'm 10 years in now. And so now I know it was meant to be. There are going to be a lot of good and bad things that happen. And it's going to feel like, sometimes it'll feel like people are against you. Sometimes it feels like, that you're by yourself, nobody understands you. But it's a part of the process. Because if it wouldn't have happened then, I don't think it would have happened. Right? Because I was comfortable. But it was hard. It was hard. If I just tell the truth, it was really hard not knowing the next day, okay, and I was sent away well, with a bang, with a service, and everybody was there and everybody was clapping me on. But when I woke up alone. The next day I became pastor alone, and there was nobody to tell me. Now they did, I'm not going to say my leader did not. He did check on me and make sure, you're okay. He did call me. But what I'm saying is God will sometimes put you in a place alone. Yes. He'll put you there. Now, it won't be always, but he'll put you there so that you can truly come into the reality of what's going on. So you're just not, looking for someone else to do what you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
And my advice is go and do it, please. And maybe I was supposed to do it, a little earlier.
Right.
But I was so comfortable. And I was so tired. And I just didn't want to do anything else. And then I couldn't see myself being this person. And then I'm a woman.
Right.
But it was just one more thing that I get to do. That was supposed to be with me from my mother's womb.
Right. That's called manifestation. That's the best thing. So when we're going through things, difficult things, sometimes we don't want the difficult things to happen in our life. We want that to bypass us. Can you skip me? Miss me, like they say, miss me, baby. Miss me with that. But it is those things that prepare us and grooms us to be the person that we were carved out to be. You know how they say, I knew you before you was in your mother's womb. That part right there, you were carved out. But did not know you had to go. I was talking to you the other day. I was like, my God, it's across the street. Just let me go across the street. Why you got to take me all the way around there, up the mountain and up down there? But it's right there. But had I gone right there, I wouldn't be as strong as I am. I wouldn't be able to handle certain things. I wouldn't be able to help anybody else. How you gonna help somebody who ain't been through nothing? Come on now. Somewhere. Go through something first, and then you can help somebody. So I see that in constantly, throughout your life as it's unfolding, and it's just more and more and more and more and more to come. And I can be grateful for what you have gone through and have poured through so many people. Even in that moment when you didn't want to leave or whatever, the people behind you that was just waiting. Because sometimes if you don't go, can't nobody else go. Come on, man. And when you the word, you go strengthen your brother. So that's what the word says. So today, we're talking about manifestation. Help us, Pastor. Help me. I'm waiting on some stuff. I'm really waiting on some things. Especially, not necessarily those things I have in my mindset, in my thought pattern. But there's some things that have been prophesied to me. Some things when it came out, I truly believed it and gravitated and holding on to it and waiting. Thinking I'm doing what I'm supposed to do and wait until it happens because I still believe. But sometimes life and time, that seed is poured into you, is that time part before the harvest comes. And that harvest is the manifestation. What do we do? Help us. What do we do in that time of waiting?
In the time of waiting, let me deal with wait. Wait. W-A-I-T. It has two meanings. It could mean hold up, halt. Wait a second. But it can also mean serve. As in wait tables. So what do we do while God is dealing with time? We serve. We find needs and we meet them. We become instruments to help others fulfill their promises.
That's right. That's good. That's good.
We become key people until it's time for us to be the key. We serve. And so waiting is our time to build character. While you're waiting, get your goals in order. You say God is going to do something mighty in your life, but you have no goals. Go back and set some goals or what you really want to see. Having something in your head is not necessarily a goal on paper. Because what I found out, when you put something on paper, the way the word says in Habakkuk, when you write it down, that is your prophecy to yourself.
Yes.
Okay? We go sit down and we quit. No, that is the finest hour. That's the time for you to take it so that you can be better. What can you do? Get you a mentor. Get a mentor. Get a mentor. You need, let me say this. You need 3 good people in your life, maybe 4. You need a pastor, a spiritual leader to nurture you spiritually. You need a mentor to deal with you. A mentor says, come on. Come here. Come to me. A mentor is not all about just showing you or giving you something. But a good mentor shows you the good and the bad. And you need a coach. A coach is not going to treat you like a mentor.
That's right.
A coach says, I don't want to hear your excuses. Get up. Because a mentor will look and listen to your excuses and try to, give you better. But a coach said, we don't have time for that. Get on the bill.
Yes.
Come on. So you need that person. The pastor gives you the spiritual guidance that you need, that you get it correctly. But you need a mentor. The mentor is somebody you sit at the feet of. And let me tell y'all something about mentorship. I had mentors. They never came to me. I went to them.
Wow.
Mentors. You're supposed to go sit at the feet of your mentor. Not they come find you. Elijah never had to look for Elisha. Elisha, right? Elijah. Elijah never had to look for him. Why? He came. And he was willing to walk away from so many things to get what he needed. Because he only had a moment with him. So that's a part of getting your manifestations to come. You got to be in the right atmosphere. Everybody's atmosphere is
That is pure wisdom that was just spoken to us right now. Not necessarily something that was researched, but something that was experienced. And when you experience something, you become wise in it.
Yes.
If you've gone through some things over and over and over, you can write a book about it. Speaking of books, I just led myself into the next question. I heard a saying before that says, give the white people a book, give the black people Jesus. An old saying, we already know that's not true, because we want both. We want Jesus, but we want a book too. We want the knowledge. So it was, and I was reading it as, it was a racist statement, but it was based on what was going on back then in the days where there were servants and that's all they gave them, because that's all they were able to receive at that particular time. So it was like, okay, we can't have the books. What you can take from us is Jesus. So we'll take him. But we all know that is totally not true, right? So even though, in the meantime of waiting, I know that your book is in the making, right? So while you're waiting on your book to be manifested, you have gone to work. And you have gone to work on not 1, but 5 journals. What is Journal number 1 is the prayer journal. She gonna tell y'all what, I'm just gonna show you. That's the prayer journal right there. Now, listen, this is, Can I talk about mine? Okay, then I'll let you go. This is my favorite because of what she said. When you can prophesy to yourself and write your goals and things down. I like this particular one because I can write down some stuff. Sometimes we live life and we don't even realize God has really done some things for us. Until you start checking that stuff off the list, it's like, oh, God, you love me. You've been thinking about me. You've been making it happen for me. But I'm so busy focused on this other stuff that's going on. I'm not even paying attention to the things that you are doing behind the scenes. Get you a prophetic journal and you'll be able to write that down. Listen! Let me go to the other one. Because these are for the women or for anybody. The things I need to pray about. Well, you can just write some stuff down what you need to pray about. Then she got some men journal. It is not true that men not supposed to journal. Y'all better get that stuff out your mind and write it down so you won't lose it.
Right.
I'm talking about your mind. Right. You got to write some of that stuff and you have to flush it out. So she have not just looked out for, Christian and women. She has a heart for men just as much as she have a heart for women. So we have all 5 of these journals. So let's talk about where it comes from. What you doing? Why you do all
Love, passion. I love journals. And you're a witness that for 20 years now, almost, good 15 of them, I've been saying, I want a journal. Every sisters, I want a journal with my own name on it. And never did it, just wishing and hoping, didn't have the money. And I love journals. Every time, when I go into a store, if I see, that's where I'm going, journals, and I'm going to get. And in 2020, I just had a passion that before Sister, we were supposed to do Sisters in Florida. I'm going to have a journal when I go. So I got everything I needed, and I was trying to get someone to help me. And every time I would ask, they could not help me. And I was like, but it's just a journal. It's just something you write in. Well, I write books, but I don't write them. I don't do journals. You can, they write books, but they don't do journals. Didn't have anywhere to go. And so one day, I just said, well, it wasn't me. It was the Holy Spirit.
Yes.
Said to me, you got everything right there on your computer. You just need to figure out how to do it. That's another thing. We're lazy. Okay? I was lazy. But when you want to do something bad enough and you don't have any money, I said, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to play with this app until I come up with what I needed. And I did. And Teshia was the first person I think I called that evening and told her. She didn't even know I was doing it. And I sent her a picture. It was so ugly. And she was so nice. But it was just so ugly. But I did it anyway. And it was the start to something. And so just during the pandemic, I haven't had anything to do. Outside, I've had a lot to do, let me not say that, but just for myself. So I just decided that I was going to make this happen. But what really ignited me was I joined a community. So I decided to write things I need to pray about. And that's a part of the journal. Now I can journal, but that's a part of it. And then all of the things prophetic, the things a keepsake is the prophetic journal, because I couldn't find a prophetic journal. So the things we get prophesied to often, and we walk away and we never remember what's being said to us. Okay, so God gave me that to create a safe place, a keepsake for your prophecy. Okay, the other little one, prayer journal, is that was the first one I did. Just spending time. And it was created so that you can learn to spend time in worship, talking to God, and journaling. See, these journals aren't guided. I'm not that person. I'm not going to pretend. And that's another thing. Be you.
Right.
Don't pretend mention somebody else. Lady Teshia had someone on her platform that was talking about journals. It was so good. And I called her later. She didn't know I was, doing all this in the background, but it ignited me to go ahead and push it out. And the lady that was on there, she was so good, and she's a true journaler. She gave you everything you needed. It came with scripture. Matter of fact, I need to order that journal. I need to get. But it came with everything you needed, and I was so blessed by her and her story. And I'm like, okay, yeah, she's good. She's really, really good. I don't do that. These are just lines for you to write on. So you're not going to get the same thing, okay? But I think having that guide is good too. So if you need someone to guide you to the next level, right? But this is just about conversation with God. That's all this journal is. It's getting it out, putting it on paper, putting things that I want to pray about, my children, my marriage, putting those things on paper and putting my thoughts there. Get the thoughts, like she said a few minutes ago, get the thoughts out of your head. A lot of times when I counsel, when those that come to me for counsel, I tell them to write it down because you'll stop carrying it if you put it on paper. There are times that I've had to write some ugly stuff on paper so that I don't carry it around with me. Guess what? Why? So that it don't manifest. So that the ugly doesn't manifest. That I'm carrying around in me. Sometimes our emotions is a product of our behavior.
That's right.
Outward manifestations of what we're carrying every day. So you have to be willing to get something. You don't have to buy these journals, just get it out.
Yes.
Get your notebook and just write it down. Write it down. Make it plain. Like the word says, Lord, I'm about to make it plain how I feel. And I want you to do something about this so that it does not manifest within you. And when you write the good down, it manifests. These journals have been prayed over. And when you start, watch and see what happens. Watch and see what happens when you begin to journal your prayers. Watch and see what happens when you begin to journal your prophecies. It begins to come in closer.
Right.
It begins to come into your view because now you got it where you can see it. And yes, I have a heart for men, and I got the women out first because I deal with women mostly. And then I had brothers call and say, I got your journal. I'm like, ooh, get that to your wife. I got some for you. And so one of the men's prayer journal is called Prayer Wall. And that was, the Holy Spirit gave that to me. That was based on Israel. They have a prayer wall. And I'm told that usually it's just the men that can get in close view of the wall. And they would take the prayers and write them down and stick them in between the creases of the wall. And so that was, and this is called my prayer wall for men. So bless your husbands on Father's Day.
Yeah.
Give him a prayer wall. Give him a space to put his prayers. Okay, and then the prophecy for men, and it's called prophetic notes, because they don't want to use the term journal.
Right.
So y'all can use the term notes and write your prophetic notes. But yes, it came into being just by having the thought, put it on paper, and then I saw it was already in me, it already dealt with it, really had already made 2 of them. But when I saw what you did, and the young lady talking about it, it ignited the fire to say it's time to do this.
Ooh, so that means experiencing life of the Lord is fire, man! We ignite fires up in here. If it hasn't done nothing for you, keep watching. Eventually, that fire gonna start spreading and popping out. But what I notice about myself in journaling, it gives me time to stop, even though I'm writing all my stuff down, because I have isolated myself. It gives me time to listen. And then I can start writing, not what I think, but I can start writing what I now hear that's coming from the Holy Spirit speaking to me. And it gives direction. And I can put on that paper, go slap that little kid. No, you better not slap that little kid. You gonna go to jail for that. So, I'm not gonna, look, y'all not gonna see me on the videos. You gonna keep me, right? I got a coworker right there, she knows that's my sidekick. Milton, don't do that. Come on back. You better get you somebody that can say, don't you do that, when your mind say do it. But with these journals, what I found out with journaling, when you start putting it down, you begin to come up with some things. You can be creative. And you start thinking like, I didn't know I could do that. I didn't know I could even think that. I didn't even have that. I never thought about that before. So those particular times. So journaling is very, very, very important. So tell us, how do we get them? I mean, outside of, y'all get them today. But those that are watching, how can they get them?
You can get them on Amazon. So they're on Amazon. Just my name is Teresa Butcher, and you can put prayer journals and they'll come up. Or if you put prayer journals, they may just come up. But my name or my website, Teresa Butcher Ministries, you can reach out to me there. And yes, we have some today. And if you already have them, you got Mother's Day coming up, you have Father's Day coming up, and I'll sign it for you.
Ooh.
Yes, okay. I'm going to do a signing on my own. I don't have the date just yet, but if you just kind of pay attention to my website every now and then, you'll see it.
So there we have it right there. I told you it was going to just unfold like she's like an onion. She got so many layers. It's like, I thought you only prayed. Nope. I thought you only prophesied. Nope. I thought you was only a wife. Nope. So there are so many parts to her. What I love about her is she is a trendsetter. And she don't even know it. She don't even realize it because she's such a giver and she's such a server. All she's doing is serving. And when people see it work for her, even those times when you feel like you have no help, just keep going. Because I believe even on the back burner, there are some people that's just sitting, not necessarily at your feet physically, but just wait on you to say something to see it come to pass. Because when you speak and you prophesy, what you say come to pass. Yeah. So people want to hear truth, even if it's a warning. Yes. If somebody gonna warn me, I want to hear somebody that's talking about what it's gonna really be like. Yeah. And you have that gift and you nurture it. And what I love about you is your head is not swollen. You don't think, oh, I got it, but you do. And so many people are waiting on you to do something else so they can do it. Waiting on you to go forth so they can do it. Waiting on you to just be all God that He has for you to be so they can feel like, I can do that too. And I know that some people, are just picked out to be picked on. And you just happen to be one of those. You just happen to be one of those people, but you're using it for your good. You're not taking those hurtful things and those unfair things. And all the rumors I got with your talk, my mama would say, with your talk too much self, it's working out. But it has transformed because she has pushed me and she has told me I can do it. Teshia, you can do it. You can do it. Now I believe her. And I went out there and just tried some things and look at where we are a whole year. Oh my God. Oh my God. Even though it came from a hurtful place, a painful place, and you all know the story, it came from a hurtful place, but I can remember at the beginning of the pandemic, you had called me. And I had a whole bunch of people at my house. My family was at my house. And so I had to go in my closet so I could hear you because they was just talking. And I remember you saying, Teshia, you're going to have a beautiful evangelistic ministry. And I'm like, beautiful? How can evangelism be beautiful? Like, what does that look like? But you said, and I'll tell you about it later. That's another one thing. Look, I'm drop this off with you. We're going to talk about it later. We still haven't talked. I don't know what beautiful. I guess this is beautiful for it right here. But when you pour that down into me, of course, I didn't know what it meant at the time. I didn't know that I was going to go through what I was going to go through at that particular time. And of course you said a whole bunch of other things, but that particular part stood out because, first of all, I don't want to be no evangelist. I don't want to go around, even though I talked, I just didn't want that particular part because I didn't know what came with it. And then you gave me these people to go study. I'm like, these are great people. I'm supposed to study, but I can see it unfolding. All because of what you poured into me. And I trusted you because I've seen what God has done for you. I trusted you because I knew parts of your story and how you still overcame in spite of all of that. You're such a giver. You remind me of my grandmother, right? My grandmother was such a giver. My grandmother had this close friend named Sister Joshua. Sister Joshua was running the youth department with my grandmother. Now, Sister Joshua was Sister Joshua in church. But Sister Joshua would say things that she can't say in church. So, my grandmother was such a giver. She said, you will give away your behind and go out of a bag. She ain't say it quite like that. So, you can just imagine Sister Joshua, what she said. And what that meant was you will give away all of you to take care of somebody else and you will go lacking. And that's who you are. But even though you give all of your resources and your time, God is not going to let you lack and go without anything. And I believe so with that being said, I want to thank you. Listen, it is something when your overseer, someone is supposed to see over you, think of you in a way that they can really be a part of what you're doing. Because some people are just a teller. Go do this, go do that, and won't show you how to do a thing. But that is not who my overseer is. She oversees, she pastors, she nurtures, she is a mentor, and she is right there with me. Don't y'all see her? She's right here with me. She is right here, and I love her, and I thank you so much for being a part of my to give to the people before we end the show. The floor is yours.
Yes. What I would like to leave you with is the fact that she said, I don't believe she started with the ABCs of life, love, and loss. And every time, I'm going to tell you to tune in, and if you haven't been, please find her on Facebook. And she's given us everyday life, everyday lessons. But I want to leave you with this, with Manifest. You were born for a reason. And you still have time. Don't allow what you see and you don't have it right now, but you see all this beauty. Because I'm sure, there's somebody else, want to do something similar. Just like when I got up and did Sisters, I had a lot of people that came. They were able to do their lunches because I did a luncheon. Don't give up. God has put you on this earth to manifest things that have not been seen yet.
Yes.
The Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is it. If you think you're a failure, what's going to manifest?
You're a failure.
Daily failures. But if you think you can, you will. If you think yourself happy, you can start laughing. If you think, and you may not have $2 to your name, But if you think yourself rich, baby, you can walk out looking like you got it. But it's all about what you think. If you walk around and think negativity all the time, you're going to reap that. It's going to manifest. She said earlier, you get what you give out in this world. They call it karma. I call it payback.
Hey.
Reaping. You're going to reap what you have sown. And God is going to require his fruit. He's going to require the fruit that you are supposed to produce. Don't take it to the grave, but manifest it. You can do it. You really can do it. You might fail, but get up and try it again. You might be by yourself, but get up and go again. If you give God some determination, he'll begin to put people in your life. He will give you people. He will open doors. Yeah, he said, I'll give you people for your life. Yeah, when you have a real conversation with you about who you're supposed to do, who you're supposed to be, and what you're supposed to be doing in life. Don't allow jealousy. Don't allow envy. And don't be angry with God. And you're going to have some mad times with him. But learn to forgive and move forward. You can do it. You can do it. You thought you could, so you did. And look at it. Isn't it beautiful? Yeah. How beautiful are the feet. Yes, thank you, Lord.
Thank you. Have you been helped on today? Are you ready for some things to manifest in your life?
Yeah, Lord.
Are you going to work while you wait?
Yeah.
Yes. So I would like to say thank you for all of you that have shown up for the first live. But coming to you.
That's right.
Yeah, we are live and we are in living color. Thank you all for being a part of this great thing that just an idea that just have manifested.
Amen.
And I'm just using what I got, what God gave me. I got the gift to talk, and I'm just going to make it happen for me. So I thank you all for just being here. And I want to say, let's take this thing out. Where's my
Watch out, world, I'm coming through. Watch out, world, I'm coming through. Watch out. You experience life. No, have no fear. Just keep pushing, be strong. Keep the faith until change comes. Strength is not how much you can never overcome it. What you couldn't do alone. I'm going to.
Are you gonna win?
Yeah. I'm a win, I'm a win, I'm a win, yeah. I'm a win, 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 yeah. I'm a win, I'm a win, I'm a win, yeah. I'm a win, I'm a win, I'm a win, yeah. Watch out, world, I'm coming through. Watch out, world, I'm coming through. Watch out. You've experienced life, love, lost, have no fear. Just keep pushing, be strong. Keep the faith until change comes. Strength is not how much you can never overcome and what you couldn't do alone. I'm determined to. Yeah. I'm a win, I'm a win, I'm a win, yeah. I'm a win, I'm a win, I'm gone. I'm a win, I'm a win, I'm a win, yeah. I'm a win, I'm a win, I'm a win. And I'm a win, I'm gone. I'm a win, I'm a win, I'm a win, yeah. I'm a win, I'm a win, I'm a win.